Welcome to episode 52 of The Corner of Knit and Tea. I'm Laura, also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, and that is where this episode and every episode's show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called The Stash Buckler, Adventures in Yarn, and we have a Ravelry group called The Corner of Knit and Tea. If you haven't joined us yet, please come over. Hi! Welcome back. It is Sunday, August 30th, 2015, and it has been a crazy busy week with not enough knitting and crafting, but I will show you what I've been working on anyway. As I mentioned, my coworker is out of the office right now, which means I am assisting the CEO, and man, his phone does not stop ringing, and all day I schedule and reschedule appointments and move things around, and it is a little bit crazy. I work for the general counsel, who is not nearly as busy, and so it's kind of holding my feet to the fire. I have my coworker will be back on Thursday of this week, so I have 3 more days, and we have lots of tours and all kinds of exciting things coming up. So I suspect I will be very busy at work. I'm not really complaining. It is kind of interesting. The only thing I would have to complain about is that I did not get a lunch hour Thursday or Friday, so I didn't have time to knit. And I'm used to having that. So that was a little crazy busy. Every time I sat down to pick up my knitting, the phone would ring or somebody would email, and it was something that I needed to respond to. So, I mean, I guess I could solve that by leaving my desk, but you know how that works. So that was that, and the rest of the week the weather was beautiful. Of course, I did not get outside or exercise as much as I wanted to. I was just exhausted after work. So, but we had a good week. And yesterday we went out to do a variety of things. We were looking for some new furniture, which I think we found what we liked, but we were having trouble dealing with the salesperson we were dealing with, so we ended up walking away. I suspect we may go back and try and negotiate a little bit. And then yesterday afternoon we went out, and my husband and a bunch of his friends like to play disc golf. And they wanted to go out, and I needed some exercise and kind of wanted to burn off some steam outside. So we went to this crazy park downtown near the Department of Water, and it's called Waterworks. And it was absolutely gorgeous. The course itself was about a mile of walking, lots and lots and lots of up and down. I got my 10,000 steps and a ton of staircases yesterday. But there were just some beautiful open areas and just really open green and trees and beautiful views of the city skyline and things that I didn't think I would get to see. So I did post a couple pictures yesterday. I've been trying to do a little bit more internet free on the weekends. Not really, but I've been trying to spend less time on my phone when we're out and doing things. But of course, I do like taking some pictures, so sometimes I post those pictures later. So that is kind of what we've been up to. Today has been a whirlwind. I am part of a spinners group in kind of for mostly eastern Kansas. We go over to Topeka and a little bit further. And what it is it's just a monthly group of people who like to get together and spin. And this month is at my house. So I have spent the whole morning cleaning and tidying up, and my wonderful husband has helped me because he is wonderful. And I wanted to get a quick podcast in before everybody gets here, and they'll be here all afternoon. So I have some snacks and some other things to prepare. So I thought I would try and get a quick podcast in. The one wonderful thing is that I'll get 3 or 4 hours of spin time this afternoon and get to chat with other spinners and knitters. So I always enjoy the Sunday, and actually I really enjoy hosting, other than the fact that I really need to clean the house. It's normally just my husband and me, and I wouldn't say we're messy, but we are cluttered, and dusting and some of those things take a backseat to our hobbies sometimes. So when I need to clean up for company, there's always lots to do. So I think that's where I'm at. Let's dive into the podcast. I am also a little bit content light today because I got done what I had hoped to this week, but there's not a ton to show you, so I guess we will dive right in. Today for tea, I am drinking Clipper tea, and actually it doesn't say on the packet what it is, so I had to go look at the Clipper website. It is a website in the UK, and I should have sort of been able to tell, but this is a cranberry raspberry herbal infusion, which of course now that I look at the package is obvious, but I just wasn't exactly sure what it was, so I had to kind of match. And I am drinking it in my Downton Abbey mug, which says, "What is a weekend?" Oh, and I should say, Clipper tea, because I recognize the packet from other podcasts. This came with my order from Fondant Fiber a while ago. So if you wanted to try this one, you can place an order with Deb over at Fondant Fiber. Or I did find the online site, so it will be linked in the show notes. As I said, this is my Downton Abbey What is a Weekend mug. And I picked these up after they were Black Friday specials for Thanksgiving in 2014. You can usually find them on eBay for not an arm and a leg, although they'll be a little bit more than they were. They were special edition Black Friday specials, so they're not really out there unless you check eBay. So, cranberry raspberry herbal infusion. What is a weekend? I don't know, because we've been running around and it's almost time to go back to work, and it does not seem like a weekend. That is delicious. I might have to order some of that. That is really, really good. I did add some sugar to mine because I like things sweet, but that is absolutely delicious. So if you like fruity herbal infusions, I'm assuming that means this is decaf as well, Clipper tea, and that will be in the show notes. So moving on, I have a little bit of a what I'm wearing, also an FO. I finished my Mary Jane. So let me stand up so you can get a little bit of a better look. This is the Mary Jane sweater by Sarah Moore. I borrowed the colorwork piece from Nicole Montgomery's Wonderland tank, and I mashed them up together, and I made a whole bunch of modifications, all of which are on my Ravelry page. Sorry, can't keep track of which way is the correct way. It is a little bit snugger than I had hoped for, although I do have plenty of room. It was super wash. It did stretch. I did want it to be a little less form-fitting, but I will take what I got, and I am pretty happy with it. I actually also would have added just a little bit more pink here if I'd really thought about it, but I am pretty happy with the way it fits, and it is definitely made for me. So that is... I am really having trouble here trying to center on the camera. So that is my finished object for the week and what I am wearing. So I did mention last week that I was going to be reviewing a yarn, and I am not going to do the full review today, but I figured I would show you what I'm working on because I've started knitting, and it will probably take me a week or two to finish. So, I was contacted by the lovely folks over at Stitchcraft Marketing, and asked if I would want to do a yarn review. And the yarn that I am reviewing is for A Good Yarn in Sarasota, Florida. It is a yarn store, and they have quite a few exclusive colorways. I believe it's owned by a husband and wife, and the husband is a diver in Florida, and he takes tons of pictures of beautiful underwater creatures. And then they have gone to a variety of dyers and have asked them to create the colorway on yarn, and they sell them as exclusive colorways. So the colorway that I have is called Cabbage Key, and it is named for the Nembrotha cristata, which looks like this, and that is the photo from the yarn shop. So these are not mine. These are the photos that the yarn shop owner took. And there's a little bit of, on the page, there's always a little bit of something about it. This says, Susan's husband Murray is our underwater photographer extraordinaire. Here's what he had to say about our inspirational photo for this colorway. I took this photo while diving with my son Michael in the Solomon Islands of a Nembrotha cristata nudibranch. Nudibranches are shellless snails. They have gills on their backs and a pair of antennae. This particular nudibranch was about an inch or so long and crawling among one of its food sources, some small coral polyps. Some of its more common names are crested Nembrotha, cabbage nudibranch, and cabbage patch nudibranch, which is how this colorway got its name, Cabbage Key. So the yarn itself is dyed by Lorna's Laces, and you know what? I do not have the tag. Oh, maybe I do. Hang on. Maybe I do. Nope, that's my pattern. I do not have the tag to know which base it is, but I will pull that for next time and it will be in the show notes. But the colorway they created from that fabulous creature is this one, and that is my photo. It is kind of a lime green and sort of a minty tealy green with yellow and black, and it is just gorgeous. And like I said, this is on a Lorna's Laces base. It's one of their sock bases. I don't think it's shepherd sock. I need to look. Oh, you know what? I can look on my Ravelry projects page. So give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Let's get there. I will be more organized for the next time when I present my final review, which I do want to do. But let me pull what I need to for this. It's shepherd sock multi. So that is fingering weight, 80% wool, 20% nylon. And again, I have this this picture of the colorway. So I looked at that yarn and tried to envision what kind of sock I would want to knit with that. And I decided that because it was variegated, but I didn't really want it to pool so much, I decided that I really wanted it to, I thought about what socks I could knit, and I decided on the Monkey pattern by Cookie A. Monkey socks are a free pattern. They were on Knitty. It was one of Cookie A's earlier sock patterns, or at least earlier where I knew about her. And I think it is a great pattern for variegated yarn. And I think I'm actually going to call these socks Sea Monkey because they are Cabbage Key and monkey socks. And I got through the ribbing, and then I went through about 4 repeats of the pattern. The sock suggests you do 6, and then it is a top down with a heel flap, and then you do your foot. So that is what it looks like, and I am super pleased. It's a little hard to see. I will have to take pictures with my regular camera because it is a little hard to see the differences in the greens. There are actually 2 different greens in there, but I just love the way it is striping up with that black and yellow, kind of creating stripes as opposed to pooling places. And I could not be more pleased with this sock. I think these are going to be super, super fun. So that is what I'm working on. Hopefully I will be through the heel and onto the foot by the time we speak next, and then get started on the second one. I really hope to have these done in the next couple weeks. They are probably the only project I'm really working on other than my design. So that is the knitting content for this week. I didn't finish the sweater until Wednesday night. So this is the last couple days of my working on this. And like I said, I hope to have more this week, and I have a few projects that I'll cast on for September. I know I said I was going to bring them this week. I did not gather everything up in all the cleaning. So I'm going to plan to gather those up and talk to you about them next week. So those are monkey socks in Cabbage Key from a good yarn in Sarasota, Florida. All of those links will be in the show notes, and I will hopefully in the next week or 2 review the yarn for you. So that is all the knitting content for this week. I know, a little bit content light. I just did not get enough done this week. And I keep telling my husband, I have so much to do. And he keeps saying, well, just do it. And yes, but it's just not getting done. So spinning last week, I showed you a beautiful braid of Hello Yarn, and I'm going to pull it up because I have some interesting things to talk about. I showed you a beautiful braid of Hello Yarn fiber called Slumber. It was a club colorway, and it had purples and greens and some teal and some peach and yellow. And I spun that up and actually ended up with my thinnest spin ever. And this is 2-ply. I suspect it will be fingering, bordering on lace weight, very light fingering once it is done. And this is the purples and yellows and peaches and greens, and it is just luscious. It is a Polworth silk base. And it is just fabulous, and that's a pretty good representation of the colors there. The light is just changing a little bit as I keep going, so because it's a little bit overcast out today and really humid, and so every time the sun pops out. This also has not been washed yet. I finished plying this late last night and decided to not wash it so that I could show it to you. This one actually is spoken for. When I posted a photo of the fiber and showed the fiber on the podcast last week, I was contacted by 2 people who said, "Can I have that?" And the first one I said, yes, of course. And the second one I said, well, it's already been taken, but let me see if I can find another one. So I went back to the Hello Yarn forums and I put out an in search of request to hopefully find another of the club colorway, because it's pretty easy to get something there if somebody is willing to give it up, but they are dyed in limited quantities, and Hello Yarn, once she dyes a club colorway, she pretty much never repeats it. So if you don't get it when it comes out or find someone willing to destash it, you aren't getting it. So I finished this spin, and meanwhile I contacted a lovely Raveler who said that she would be happy to sell me one, and I purchased the braid, and it arrived late yesterday, and I picked it up out of the mailbox this morning, and here it is. Now, one of the things that you will notice is that the colors are a little bit different. This is a really good lesson in the fact that even when a dyer does different dye lots, they can turn out a little bit different. I think the previous braid that I received was a little bit darker. And the interesting thing about this one is that there are some more pinky spots. And it's not going to show up on the monitor so well. There were peachy spots on the last one, really peachy, and this one actually is a little bit pink, although it's appearing peach on the monitor, so I'm not going to be able to make my point. This braid is not quite as dark and moody as the other braid was, so the yarn is going to be a little bit lighter. And I'm hoping that that will be okay with the person who requested, because there's not a lot I can do with braids of different dye lots. That just happens. Nobody does. No one who is an indie dyer produces the exact same braid twice. They're all a little bit unique, and I think that is part of the joy of spinning hand-dyed braids, is that they're all a little bit unique and they're all a little bit different. So I hope this will be okay with the person who requested that. But I am going to spin the same color again this week and work towards having that done for next podcast and to go out. So, and you can see, well, because the monitor has terrible coloring, you probably won't be able to see. This one is quite a bit moodier than this one. Still all the same colors, just this one probably ended up slightly more saturated in the process than this one did. So that is what I'm working on. I also have some other fiber this week arriving. It is from the company so that I can do my design in their fiber. So that needs to be spun up. I'm expecting that a little bit later this week. So hopefully I will get a good head start on the braid of Slumber. I guess I didn't give you all the particulars. This is Hello Yarn. The fiber is called, the colorway is called Slumber, and the fiber was Polworth Silk. And so I hope to start that second braid today and maybe get about halfway through that. And then I will be able to finish that, I hope, early this week, so that later this week I can start working on the other spin for my design. So I think that's about all I have for you today. I didn't have any questions. So that might be it. I hope that you have had a wonderful week. If this is your first time watching the podcast, it's a little bit shorter than normal. Usually I have a little bit more content, but things have been a little crazy. I thank you for joining me and hope you'll come back again. And if you are watching again, I say welcome back and thank you for joining me again. I am so grateful that you spend a little bit of time with me each week. Now I'll tell you, I hope that you have a wonderful week, and until I see you again, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye!